Episode 8 takes place 6 weeks after the end of Episode 7, and the government has allowed superheroes into the military. Now, the government is wondering how exactly terrorists ended up with Compound V, but it doesn't really matter because in the meantime, Vought superheroes will be battling them. Now, while that's great news for Vought, it's not great news for Billy and his group. They're held up in a hotel, and the deputy director shows up there and tells them that the DOJ has reneged on the deal, and not only that, but they're now labeling them as criminals for what they did to Translucent. So it kind of puts the group in a scramble mode. And Billy's frustrated because they're so close to taking them down, so he heads to his former boss's house. Now, this is the same boss that lost her grandkids to Lamplighter, and it's also the same woman that brought the video of Becca Butcher leaving Homelander's room to Billy, making it look like she was raped. Or at the very least, painting the picture. But because of the fact that she lost her grandkids once to one of these guys, she's very reluctant to help Billy, but Billy needs to figure out how to take these guys out, specifically Homelander. And after some back and forth, she finally says Homelander doesn't really have a weakness per se, but his weakness, if anything, is Madeline Stillwell. So get to Madeline Stillwell and you might be able to find his weakness. Now, while that meeting was going on, a group of mercenaries busted through the door and took Kimiko, Frenchie, and Mother's Milk. So when Billy and Huey head back, Billy notices there are differences in the hotel parking lot, and he just keeps on driving. He tells Huey that they've probably been taken, and there's probably a lot of guys there that were ready to wrap them up as well, so let's just keep moving. But Huey wants to go back. Huey wants to try to save these guys. But the only thing Billy is focused on is getting to Madeline Stillwell, and in a way says they're on their own. They get into a fight and decide to go their separate ways, with Billy heading off to try to get Madeline Stillwell, and Huey heading back to the motel to try to save his friends. Now, Huey's first idea is to hit up Starlight. Credit to him, because it's a bold move to hit up the girl that you were dating, kind of, and your friend shot. And because of that, she's not really interested in helping him. Even after he pleads with her and says, you saved me once before. You saved me in that bowling alley. I was going down a dark path until you came around. Yeah, that charm doesn't work this time, and she's really not interested. And so it's on Huey to figure out a new plan, which we'll get to in a little bit, because one of the members of the Seven that we haven't talked about in a little bit is the A-Train, who is having a tough go of it since Kimiko took out his leg. He's no longer the fastest man in the world. That's now Shockwave, the guy that he beat in that race. And no one really seems to recognize him, especially when he's just browsing in a store and a security guard racially profiles him. Even after the A-Train tells the security guard that he's the A-Train, the security guard doesn't buy it. Now, eventually the security guard does realize that he actually is the A-Train and apologizes profusely, but this chance encounter forces the A-Train to try to rehab quicker, and he uses Compound V once again. His brother catches him training and wonders how the hell he healed so quickly and realizes it was Compound V and starts chastising it for using it. He's saying, your organs are growing quicker than your body is. This stuff's really dangerous. You shouldn't be using it. I'm out of here. But the only thing that the A-Train is focused on is becoming the world's fastest man once again, even if this stuff is going to kill him. Now, let's get back to that plan that Huey had. It's actually pretty genius. He's going to intentionally get caught by the Black Ops guys, and they're going to throw him in a cell with Frenchie and Mother's Milk. Now, they searched him, but they didn't search the retainer he was wearing. And with Frenchie's skill set, they're able to use that retainer to break free. But now they need to find Kimiko, and after taking out some of the Black Ops guys, they do end up finding her, but it results in Frenchie getting shot. He's not killed, but he is injured. And now it's just down to Mother's Milk and Huey because Kimiko's pretty banged up as well. Eventually, though, they end up getting rounded up because they run out of bullets, and it looks like it's curtains for him, but that's when Starlight ends up entering the picture. Now, she was at a Christmas party getting all tuned up, looking real good, mind you. And she ends up having a heart-to-heart with Queen Maeve. It says, look, you're a pain in the ass, but be that wholesome pain in the ass because we need that. And don't lose yourself in this job. Don't lose who you are. So she ends up using her clearance to find out exactly where the Black Ops site is and ends up finding them. And it's in the best time. She takes out the rest of the Black Ops guys, and it looks like they're home free, but that's when the A-Train shows up because he's still got vengeance in his eyes for Huey. Now, Starlight is trying to ward him off, but he's just too fast. The A-Train goes to Huey and says, you killed my girlfriend. Once again, Huey says, I didn't kill your girlfriend. And finally, the A-Train admits, I know you didn't because I did. But unfortunately for the A-Train, all that Compound V has finally taken its toll, and he has a heart attack. Now, this would be the perfect time for Huey to get away, but he can't because he tries to revive the A-Train. He tells Starlight to call her a hospital, and she says, you know he's never going to stop coming after you. And he goes, I know, but I can't just leave him here. But Starlight knocks some sense into him and says, look, get out of here, because if they catch you, you're done, and I'll take it over from here. Now, at that same Christmas party that Starlight was getting tuned up in, you had a mix of the Vought people hobnobbing with military folks. And at this Christmas party, the head of Vought comes to Madeline Stillwell and implies that she's going to get a raise because of all the money that's being generated from this military deal. And she seems extremely excited about this. Eventually, Homelander shows up and sees Madeline Stillwell and says, don't you think it was a little ironic that this supervillain just showed up when we needed him most? And that's when he admits that he was having the A-Train run around the globe delivering Compound V to terrorists. And even though there was some trial and error with it, they ended up fine-tuning it and ended up working out for Vought. And this leads to a very uncomfortable sexual encounter with Homelander. They also discussed the Becca Butcher situation a little bit, but that wasn't pillow talk. That's before they started banging. After the party, Madeline Stillwell is dropped off at home and starts looking for the babysitter, but the babysitter isn't there. Billy Butcher is. He ends up strapping a bunch of C4 all over Madeline Stillwell, waiting for Homelander, who does eventually show up. Homelander asks him, what do you want here? All right, you're Becca's husband. Dude, she came on to me. It's the celebrity angle, you know? She was really into me. So what are you trying to get out of all this? And Billy just says, I just want to hurt you. And Homelander says, okay, that makes sense. I heard something that you love, and now you want to hurt something that I love, which in this case is Madeline. And then he looks at Madeline and says, I thought you weren't going to lie to me. And she gives him a confused look, and he says, you know, you and the doctor's stories about Becca, that they were so close, but there was just little things that were off with it. They didn't quite match up. And that's when he grabs her face and uses those lasers to basically laser her face off. After he does this, he looks at Billy, and Billy's only option now is to pull the C4, which he does. The next scene is Billy waking up on a front yard, and he's staring at Homelander, and Homelander says, hey, man, you got to get up. I saved you, but you were probably knocked out there for 8 or 9 hours. But you got to get up, man, because you're really going to love this. And that's when a little boy walks out and sees Homelander and goes, oh, my God, you're Homelander. And he says, hey, bud, do you know who I am? And the kid goes, yeah, I know you are. You're Homelander. And Homelander says, oh, I guess your mom didn't tell you, because I'm also your dad. And Becca Butcher is right behind the kid in shock. And that is how Season 1 of The Boys ends. So, like this video, subscribe to the channel. If you have any predictions about Season 2, by all means, you can write them down. And I'm also very interested to find out who your favorite member of the Seven is. I got a huge crush on Starlight myself, but it's probably Black Noir because the dude he doesn't talk.